Look.
Is it an FPV?
Go, go, go.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ukraine is preparing to create a new branch of the military, the drone forces. One of the prototypes is the 411 Separate UAV Batallion, also called the 411 Hawks. Today, they are taking us on two of their missions in one of the most difficult directions of the Frontline, Robotyne.
So yesterday night, when we were watching the live drone feed from Robotyne, which has become one of the main focal points of large Russian assaults we've been seeing the past months, we saw Russian BMP entering, soldiers exiting, distributing themselves in the village, and now it's not even 4 in the morning, and that's where we're heading. The job of the guys behind me, the job of the Hawks, will be to with the help of their drones, to try and get rid of the Russians, to root them out and to fend off any new assaults.
Зараз ми зупиняємося, а далі пішки.
We reach the dugout just before daylight breaks. Inside, the men are preparing today's weapons. We're close to the enemy, so they will be using FPVs, armed with various explosive charges.
This is an old Soviet munition, an RKG-3 grenade, a handheld anti-tank grenade, well proven against armored vehicles. Against infantry, we use a fragmentation grenade, both a kilogram and a 1.5 kilogram. And for shelters, we use a thermobaric, this kind. If you hit a dugout, it produces gases that explode and open the dugout.
With everything prepared, we wait.
We've been here now for a couple of hours. Quite absurd, actually, the situation, because we're sitting here just in a dugout in the middle of a field. On all these screens, you can see what's going on everywhere. We just saw a wounded Russian who's struggling for his life in a trench.
Suddenly, the men spot two Russians, fully armed and with backpacks, making their way through the tree lines.
Я понял. Да, можна влупити.
Сірий, мультики є?
So the aerial reconnaissance just spotted two Russians walking down the road with full backpacks and ammunition. That's why they grabbed this FPV drone. They prepped it here. Now we'll go back to the command center and watch on the screen when the FPV drone pilot flies this thing towards those two soldiers.
It's delicate work. As drone technology is rapidly advancing, so are electronic countermeasures. This time, the men lose control of their drone before they reach the two Russians. Commanders like Hort are faced with the challenges of a rapidly changing war. He has been in the army for 10 years, starting as an assault trooper and now commanding the Hawks strike groups. In his opinion, drone battalions like the Hawks are necessary because of their flexibility.
We are firefighters. We put out fires wherever they are. It's that simple. We don't have our own infantry or frontline, which is held by our guys. And since we're fighting in a war where we are outnumbered by the enemy, we need this modern approach. Technological, smarter at times, and more effective.
But while drones provide a cost-effective and technologically witty solution that has become indispensable, they will not make up for the lack of artillery shells.
Unfortunately, we don't have enough artillery ammunition. There's a big shortage. Yes, you can attach anything to a drone, even outdated ammunition from the 40s, and it will be effective, but artillery systems can never be replaced. First of all, because of their range and their firepower.
Це 2.
The Russians are well aware of Ukraine's weak spots. Just as the sun sets, we see a column of armored vehicles heading towards the village. Sadly, the men can only watch, since without night vision, these FPVs are useless. The situation we experience is symbolic. Drones are a great help, but without enough shells for artillery, Ukraine is once again facing overwhelming tasks.
We ready? Let's hit it.
It's time for us to leave, and we embark on the perilous journey back to one of the command posts. Despite the danger, Horde's spirits are high.
Хочу передати привіт всім тим, хто розбиває нам дороги своїми зілами, уралами і гусеничною технікою. Ми, бідні ТРОшники, на джипах потім проїхати не можемо, ми ходимо пішки. Look.
War is funny in its own strange way. Every joke can be followed by a quick reality check.
Is it an FPV?
Go, go, go! Go, go, go!
Yes, yes, yes.
To counter the Russian dominance in terms of money and manpower, modern battalions like the Hawks rely on the wits and creativity of women like Dziuba, who left their jobs in the IT sector to join the battle.
My name is Julia. Before the war, I was working as business analyst and product owner for the little but mighty company in IT sphere. Right now, I'm working as analyst. I'm serving my team, cherry picking some best targets, analyzing different types of information like OSINT, Sych.
How would you compare electronic and drone warfare between Russia and Ukraine?
Yes, it's actually a great question because like Russians were more prepared to war than we were, and they really have good school of radio intelligence, of electronic warfare, and that's actually a good challenge for us. Those huge systems, they are fragile. We can like destroy it or damage it seriously using some kind of like several thousand bucks drone.
Last question. You, as a woman and as an IT-schnick, I guess you would say you are a bit of an outsider in two ways. How easy or hard was it for you to adapt?
Frankly speaking, I'm lucky enough to serve in like Separate Batallion, so we do have really like more experimental structure. At the same time, like working in IT in Ukraine, it is actually more or less the same. I have this joke that what has changed, and I'm just swearing more.
After a couple of hours at the base, we follow the Hawks on their next mission. We have been awake for almost 24 hours, but it's worth it. The team will be flying Sych, a highly classified drone, and we are the first team of journalists to capture it in action. The Sych can be used for reconnaissance and, like tonight, to attack targets deep behind enemy lines. Unarmed, it can fly around 200 kilometers. If equipped with two 1.8 kilogram bombs, it can make a round trip of 80 kilometers, giving it a longer range than most artillery systems Ukraine has. The most amazing thing, though, is that it flies completely autonomously. Once it's outside of the radio signal, there's no calling it back. All you can do is wait for it to return.
So as you can see, they're just arming the drone and then it's ready to launch. It's going to be fired off from this catapult. But the most amazing thing about it actually is that it contains two flashcards. One records the flight, but the second one contains all the information the drone needs to fly, to attack its target and to return automatically. So there's no one controlling or flying it.
While the Sych is flying deep behind enemy lines, we speak to Bug. He was a programmer before the war. Now he uses his skills to improve the software that enables them to program the autonomous flight paths of the Sych.
The Sych was developed at a time when there were no HIMARS in Ukraine, and the distance of 70 kilometers was not accessible by our artillery. So we didn't have anything to hit ammunition depots with, and the Sych was designed to destroy them. The manufacturer and everybody else liked what we did with the program. I started adjusting the weather. I started adjusting the terrain. The drone takes into account almost everything: takeoff, landing, approach to targets, and so on. It used to take an hour to build a mission from the programming side. Now it just takes 10 minutes.
After more than 24 hours in the field, we head home. The siege mission was a success, by the way. The bomber eliminated both its targets, an ammo depot and a cluster of cars 40 kilometers behind the front line. This shows battalions like the Hawks, integrating new personnel, techniques and equipment, are the future of modern warfare. But every future is built on the present, and without more equipment, more artillery systems and shells, even brave, innovative battalions like these won't be able to stop the Russian horde.